we're live. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. We are live. Okay. So me and Helen were already just talking about the next books that we're reading in the series and what we're going to do. Anyways, welcome everybody. Those are watching this later. Thank you so much. I love it that you guys come back and watch us later. Not these don't get a ton of live views, but it's still fun. I'm glad Helen's here with me, and we are here to talk about Dark Skye and Sweet Ruin. And I was very excited for this month because I had heard a lot about these books. So I'm excited to see what Helen thinks. But we were just talking about, I guess I won't bring up the next one till the end of the maybe. But anyways, we were talking about audiobooks and how I got addicted to the audiobooks because Robert Ketloff, how do you say his name? Shoot. He narrates all these and he is so good with like the accents, the way he does Lothaire's voice, like in Sweet Ruin when he's doing that one demon that's almost like he has like a pirate voice that he does for it, and it's so funny. So I really got hooked on the audiobooks, and so I've kind of been using them. I don't know, since maybe the 4th or 5th book, I think I switched to audio, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So, because I listen to them at work, when I drive, like when I clean the house, like I'm always just listening to audio.
Yeah, whereas I've been I started off with the audio, but I've switched to ebooks. So the last few I've read have been ebooks. Yeah. So yeah.
And then I was bummed because I thought they were all going to be on KU because the beginning ones were on KU, and I was like, oh yay! And then it was only the beginning ones. So I was like, oh no, now everybody's got to kind of, but not everybody has KU. So, I always think most people do, but they don't.
Yeah. And you can pick these up secondhand as well, right? If you want to buy physical copies, you can pick them up secondhand and stuff. So.
Yeah, I did ask Jen to annotate Lothaire for me for one of my, because I'm on her annotation Patreon. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll start getting just like my favorite ones annotated by her. So I was going to have her do like Lothaire, but I want to eventually buy them. It's just, I wish we had a good used bookstore locally. We don't really have that many used bookstores out here where I live in San Diego, like we used to. Now it's like Barnes and Nobles, or like we do have the Meet Cute shop, but that's like more contemporary, like current day kind of stuff. Because I want to find a good used bookstore where I could get all these secondhand, and like also I like getting historical romances because they have like the step backs and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's dive into these books. So we're not here. I know it's late where you're at, but we'll start with Dark Skye. So what did you ended up rating Dark Skye, Helen?
Well, I rated it 4 stars, but as I was going back through my notes and writing down everything that happened in this book, I'm like, maybe I underrated it slightly. But I rated it 4 stars. That's what I rated when I finished reading it. Yeah.
That's what I rated it too. I gave it a 4-star. I really liked it. I just think for some reason it was like going slower for me. I felt like I wasn't as into it as the other ones, but I still had a really good time. I really liked the characters and I was really excited for it. I think maybe that's why I was like, because when I was trying to compare it to the ones that I gave 5 stars or even 4.5, I was like, well, I didn't totally feel it was at that same level. So I think that's kind of why I ended up giving it a 4. But I did think it was very unique. I liked it. I mean, I know a lot of people don't really like the religious undertones stuff kind of going on in that, but I found that really interesting. I thought I really liked that whole their character setup. As you guys are on, if you want to jump on and let us know what you rated it. But yeah, I think it was such an interesting between the hero and heroine, where obviously like he knew we're fated mates from like the get-go, and the betrayal and the second chance type of thing, childhood friends to lovers. I really liked all those aspects of it. I don't know. I can't explain why. I was just kind of felt like,
Mhm.
I think it was a little longer than I wanted it to be, maybe. But I
Yeah.
still had a really good time with it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I was really looking forward to this one. I thought this is going to be brilliant because they teased this couple for ages, and I kind of already kind of
Mhm.
was leaning towards, oh, this guy's got a really bad rep. Everyone seems to really hate him. The Reckoners, no one likes them. And I thought, I'm going to
Yeah.
really like him. I'm going to love this one. And yeah, there's just something about it where I just like, didn't quite live up to expectation, I don't think. So that's why I gave it 4 stars. But like I
Yeah.
said, as I was going through my notes for this, and I was like, all the things that actually happened in this from a plot perspective, like just the whole world and the world building,
Mhm.
what's been going on. I was just like, there's a lot that happened in here. So I'm like,
Yeah, it's one big type of survival road trip type of whatever, traveling together where they're constantly in danger and having to rely on each other. I thought that was really interesting. So there was, and just building on the, each book, she's constantly building on the world.
yeah.
So, and I didn't expect the Reckoner for, is that what they're called? The Reckoners? I can't
Well, I
remember.
don't think
I
I
should have
really
had my notes
count,
with me,
but
but
yeah, but he's a reckoner, right? And they think they're fallen,
yeah.
not fallen gods, but they think they're
Where
kind
it's
of
like
angels. So,
angel, like they think they're like angels, but he's part demon, but doesn't want to
yeah,
recognize that they're part demon
yeah.
too. So I found that really interesting. That's like not what I was really expecting when you hear about this disfigured, like all messed up, like you're thinking like monster or something, but it's because she betrayed him that he has all those issues. But I guess since we're talking about him, what did you think about the hero?
So like I said, going in, I was expecting to really like him, right? Because he's been set up a bit as a bit of a villain. We know that people are scared of his kind of race or species or whatever. But I kind of thought, oh, he's going to turn out to be a goodie, right? Because it looks like he's chasing her down, but clearly they're going to be fated mates. So
Yeah.
there's going to be more to him than that. And what I liked about his character, because he does go through quite a bit of an arc, right? Because he starts out and he's almost like just chasing it, almost what in his mind it's for vengeance, but as we go through the story he starts to uncover quite a lot of things about himself, right? And he starts to like challenge his own beliefs, or she challenges his beliefs about who he really is, and he's like, can that all really be true? So I kind of like really liked his character arc overall, but I thought he was quite open and accepting. He wasn't
Yeah.
like shutting it completely down. He was like, oh, maybe there's some truth to this.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that like made me think like you, maybe I should have rated this higher, because I do think he had such a great character arc, because he was very like just black and white, my way's the right way, whatever. And then, not thinking like his brother or whatever had gone after her, like that they did all these horrible things, torturing, chasing her and her sister. He didn't really believe that. And then he was very, kind of religious with the way he was, and kind of closed-minded with her being, sexual being. And I liked how she completely owned that and was like, I'm not gonna feel bad about, exploring my sexuality and, being active. So I thought he had like a really good character arc. I don't know. I guess I just didn't I still really enjoyed it. It's just I'm trying to think if I love this couple as much as I loved other couples. And I think that's the thing that didn't, and maybe the fact that I was more like waiting for this one since it was teased. Maybe that's why it kind of
Yeah,
had that feeling for me.
yeah,
Let
yeah.
me see here. And then what did you think about Lanthe, or Melanthe, or Lanthe, whatever we want to call her?
I mean, I really liked her too, right? She wasn't as annoying as a character in the previous book, and I yeah, again, she had a great character arc, right? Because she's obviously quite scared. Like she's been through quite a lot of trauma, right? So her and her sister have been through quite a lot, and she's very powerful sorceress, but she's not fully come into her power. Like she doesn't have the confidence. She thinks she's like lacking in some
Yeah.
way, like she's used it all up and she's not going to be able to use her magic anymore. And so I really like, again, like the journey that she goes through to really kind of come into her own. And I agree with what you said. It's like her whole sexuality, the way she dresses and everything, she's like very unapologetic about that. She's like, well, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, if I was a man in this world, like it wouldn't be a thing. But him, it's like they were, virgins till they're with their mate and all of that. So he's a virgin hero, which I always love a virgin hero. But I did feel really bad for him when he finally finds her again and she's like hooking up with like that vampire, and it's just like the most brutal thing for somebody that's like the fated mate, like he loses it. So I understood his feelings and where he was coming from, but I liked how she didn't let him like push her down or make her like, she was like, nope, like you're not going to make me feel guilty. And she was like, I'm done with over like just having sex with different partners. I want to be with somebody now and have like a real relationship. So it wasn't like she was just like, that's all she was,
Yeah.
And I did like how she was really powerful, but she always thought she only like, it's like she could only use her power this much or that much, so it's like learning her power and her strength through that. So I really liked them together. I do think they both had good character arcs by like the end of like where we end up. So I don't even know. I usually have this question, but I don't even know. Do I remember any of the side characters?
I was thinking that as well, but there's a couple. So as I was going through my notes, there's a couple, right, that we meet. So first of all,
what's dumb is I wrote all my notes on my work computer. So like,
oh, that's no good. Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to transpose those.
It was that dude in the ocean where he's like king of the, I put his name down as Nereus, and I don't know if that's how they pronounced it, but
oh yeah, that was an interesting character.
Yeah, because who did we discover down there?
Exactly. Yeah, the big, like we get to a flash of that, get to see that, like, and then how many books and we're still not getting to her.
Exactly.
So hopefully,
yeah, but
hopefully one day.
I kind of like him. He's a very interesting character, and I really thought it was funny because now there's a seed in him of like, oh, this Morgana chick, because Lanthe planted the seed in him to say, oh no, my aunt Morgana, she's interested in you, and he's now going, that might be someone I'd be interested to meet. So I don't know if anything will ever come of that, but I made a note of it thinking that would be funny if something happened there. And of course Morgana again, because she was a great side character before, and so this is another glimpse of her, right? I mean, I wasn't very happy with what she did in this one, I have to say.
No, I was very mad. That third act was like making me very frustrated, but then it didn't last too long, but I was like, what a bitch. Like that was the most brutal thing, to make him forget her, and like how is she gonna get him now? And I did like how they were enemies, so they started out like the enemies were there, but he's like, I'm taking you because you're my mate, and I'm taking you home with me because you're my mate. Oh well. But then they like quickly kind of communicate, and they don't sit in that for too long in the book. And that's what I kind of liked, where she was realizing that like she was caring for him and then falls for him, and wasn't like, I think I get tired, and this is why I love the heroine in the next book that we're going to talk about, of the heroines that are like, I don't want to mate. I don't do fated mates or this or that. Like they fight it like tooth and nail, and it like gets annoying, because that's like how all the Valkyries were. And I think that's why I was getting like over the Valkyries. So I like about her where she wasn't like fighting that they were meant to be together. Once she realized he didn't really truly betray them, that he didn't really know what his brother was up to, all of that kind of stuff. And then I, of course, love Sabine. I loved her. So I love anytime I get to see Sabine, because she's crazy and I love her. So that's like one of my favorites.
Definitely.
I'm like, I guess I don't have a lot to say about this one, honestly.
Well, a couple of other things I just wanted to pull out just from a plot perspective, because in addition, I mean, there's a couple of things, right? So obviously things that have happened in the previous books, we now seen in here. So in Shadow's claim during the tournament, I never put the two and two together, that when Trahan delivered the head in the bag. What was the lady's name? Bettina. I knew it was a Reckoner, and it was a person that had basically nearly killed her.
Mm-hmm.
But what I hadn't realised was that it was actually Thranos's brother. So
when that came up, I was so shocked. I was like, "What?"
Dead, it's like, well, he's dead because the guy from Shadow's Claim killed him.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Which is like good on him. He like did them. They got rid of that psycho.
Yeah.
And when you see like when I like didn't connect that at all either. And then I was like, oh whoa, that brother was doing some really crazy, horrible shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that. Like I think when the Fate of Mates podcast where they did this read-along or whatever, they didn't read like the Shadow Seduction and Shadow's Claim or whatever until like after these books. And so I think they were like, it's like kind of, I think the reading order is better to go this way because then we connect that. Otherwise you wouldn't really know until like you got to that book and you would be like, oh, okay, that's what they were talking about way back in Dark Skye or whatever. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. I liked how that all connected together. And you know, I'm trying to think if I had anything on my notes here.
I think as well as a result, because he'd gone in and killed the brother, he actually then came away with a side fight, and it was a side that Morgana was able to use to actually take down the city.
Yes.
So it's like, well,
it's crazy that how Cressley like has all these plot points in multiple books that like all like it's so genius to me because sometimes it's just whatever, but like with people's series, but that each of these little plot points is really important to like following books. So I think it's really well done. I think that's why people can like reread this series many times because then they can go back and like look for all these things too and like even more. Like I would definitely be interested in rereading it like obviously way later down the road to see all these like things that would connect much later. This has been a year of our life. We can continue right now.
Also, I thought the whole way his sort of the city was set up was pretty frightening, right? Because it was very, very sterile. Everything was white. Everything had to be clean. Like they weren't allowed to wear like revealing clothing when they had
the way they had to have sex where it was like
just have a sheet over them. It's like what?
And she's like, hell no, like
like this is
well, and how it was like open above them, so she's like they can just do flybys while we're having sex, and he's like, oh well, we'll have a sheet, we'll be covered. It's like, oh no.
So
well, the fact that she was willing to like leave her life to go with him up there, like I made me really like her, where she was willing to kind of like compromise and go be with him up there, where you kind of thought she would just be like, oh well, I'm not moving there, like I won't leave my sister, my family, and so I kind of liked that that she was willing to like sacrifice a lot to be with him. If that one chick didn't ruin things. What was her name again? God, I can't remember people's names. But yeah, and then I also really liked how she like worked with her like persuasion and abilities to like try and heal him, and then where his like it was helping his like wings and everything, but obviously it's not like totally long term, but she's like, I'll do this for you like every day or whatever so that he wouldn't be so uncomfortable and damaged with his wings and body and stuff. So I thought that was really sweet too.
No, it was good.
I guess the last one, I'll do this one first so we end on a positive note. Is there anything you didn't like about the book?
No, I don't think. I mean, obviously I didn't rate it 5 stars, so there was something I didn't like, right? But it was more just an overall vibe or feeling. It just wasn't like I think it was like the anticipation that didn't quite hit the spot, and that's why it was a 4-star. Not
Yeah.
because of anything. I don't think any of the characters particularly irritated me. I thought it was a really good, like, yeah, lots of little things that happened in this were really interesting, the way they connected to other books and potentially future books as well. So I don't think I've got any complaints.
Yeah. I know, like I couldn't really think of anything I didn't like, but again, we both rated it 4 stars. I think it was just not as fast paced as I wanted it to be for the length of the book. Maybe I was like, oh, we're jumping from this place to this place to that place. I think I've had issues with these books when it does that, where it's just constant, like they're bouncing from place to place, and it kind of takes me out of the story a little bit, even though there's so much going on. I mean, and luckily, like I had the audiobook, so it moves faster, like listening to it, I think. So, and I think it is part of me, like kind of wanting to know about Thronos for forever and like what happened when he took her at Torture Island and all those things. And it's not like it let me down. I just didn't love it as much as like previous couples. So that's why I was trying to like, I literally sat there for a while, like, what do I rate? I didn't know what I wanted to rate it because I was like, maybe 4.5, but then I compared it to a 4.5 that I gave, and I'm like, but I didn't love it as much. So I think a solid 4 was good for it. I know a lot of people really do love this one. It just didn't hit the same to me as like a Lothair or like even her sister's book. You know, I loved that one. I think I did give that one like 5 stars because I loved what a crazy bitch Sabine is. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. I made it just. Oh, we haven't talked much, Jen. Hello, welcome. Thank you for watching. We are like almost wrapping up the first book, which is Dark Skye. I don't know, Jen. I know it's been a while since you've probably read it, but what did you rate that book? We both rated it 4 stars. And other people that are watching, if you want to jump in, let us know what you rated the book, what you felt about Dark Skye, if you did happen to read it. I know some people watch this that aren't really reading along with us, but yeah, so it's nothing I didn't like. I think it just felt a little long in certain parts, and then I was kind of getting a little like it was, I don't know, I hate to say bored because I wasn't bored, but I don't know, it's hard to say why I settled with like the 4, but I still had a good time with it. And then I guess the other thing I have here is, what did you like about the book the most, you know? Oh wait, she says, I cannot remember, but I know Dark Skye is a tricky one for a lot of people, but I thought it was super unique within the series. Yeah, I really liked it, but it was also pretty predictable where it was going. Yeah, I think it was, I don't know. I don't think it's worse than like I've had some ones that I didn't like as much as this one, but I know it can be kind of tricky for people. Maybe the religious undertones or the other stuff going on, but I thought it was very unique compared to some of the other books. And I did like learning about, Thronos and, those angel demons. Like, I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah. And there's little bits in there around, when they're in Pandemonium. I mean, again, obviously Nyx is a highlight, right? I mean, what?
Yeah.
I can't. Every time I read about it, I'm like, I can't decide if she's a goodie or a baddie, to be honest. Because half the time, you obviously know she's on the side of good, but she meddles so much, and she's put the characters through so much, right? And we know she's doing it to kind of direct them into a certain way. But again, like in this one, Nyx obviously gives them the riddle. She pretty much knows.
That's what we were just talking about, Jen, was the sheet. Like,
yeah.
And that's like, and she was like, hell no, I'm not having sex under a sheet clothed and, Which I don't know, was Nyx in this one a lot? I thought she was mostly in Sweet Ruin. I can't even remember if Nyx was in this.
It wasn't so much that she was in it a lot. She gave them
she was mentioned, like where because she told him where to find
She told
to
him
find
where to
her.
find her, and he deliberately got himself
Mm-hmm.
on the island so he could get her. Then she told them a riddle, which was about the stages of which they'd go through the different demon realms. And I can't remember what the riddle was, but there was some riddle
Yeah.
about in one cleave, in one something else. And then they're in the stomach of that. Then they got into the stomach of that. I don't even know what it was, but they're inside the stomach and it's kind of like drawing from them. So they go into that like almost like dreamlike state. And Nyx wakes him up. So he's got an opportunity to get them out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and then it was obvious that she was using them as spies because when they go into the ocean, that she's almost sent them to see if Fury's down there,
Yes.
right? And it's almost like she's sent her spies ahead to like figure out where Fury's gone or if
Yeah.
she's down there.
It's like she has the master plan,
She's got the master
and she
plan.
always moves people where she needs them. Like, I love Nyx so much. So
I really like her, but equally, like I said, she's
probably,
putting the characters through a lot, right? And I know she needs to. She's moving them where she needs them to go, but it's just like
yeah.
really. And she doesn't give them any clear instructions or directions. It's like
No.
just yeah.
She's
Just,
crazy, she's got a lot going on in that head of hers. Which we'll get to talk about Nyx a lot about from Sweet Ruin, which I was so excited how much she was in that book. But yeah, so I guess what I liked about this book was the more world building, the introduction of all these other, these characters, the Reckoners or whatever they're called. And I did really like how the characters had really good arcs of like growing throughout the book and fighting for each other and like how they fell in love and everything. So I did really like that part of the book. I just, again, didn't like it as much as some of the other ones. So that's why it was a solid 4-star for me. Okay.
Yeah,
so I guess we'll dive into Sweet Ruin now, which that's the one I really want to talk about. So let me know, everybody that's on. And then, of course, you, Helen, you can kick it off. What did you rate Sweet Ruin?
I gave this one 4.5 stars. Because I'm very strict.
It's not the 4, at least.
No, I really loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But don't forget, I only rated Lothair 4.5, and I still think that is the best one. So, but this is probably my second favorite. Or maybe, well, I really like Shadow's Claim.
You rate the Shadow one, Shadow's Claim? Did you rate that 5 stars?
No, 4.5.
Yeah, which I didn't like.
No. But I really like that one. But yeah, I think this one was equal to that. I really like this one as well. And
yeah,
go on, yeah, you go.
I didn't know how I fully wanted to rate it, but I ended up bumping it up to a 6-star for me because I loved this book. It's my favorite of the series. And so I wasn't fully sure if I wanted to give it a 6-star, but I also kind of wanted to, I had to sit with it for a while to think, do I really want to give this 6 stars? But it was better than some of the other 5 stars in the series. So I think that's kind of why I wanted to do that. And the longer I thought about it, the more I thought this hit all the 6-star things for me. Like, I was giddy reading this. I thought it was so unique in the series. I loved the hero. I loved the heroine. I thought their journey was amazing. And there's so much Nyx in this that just made me giddy. Like, I loved it. Okay, let's see. Jen. Oops. Let's just say I would rate this 6 stars today. Yeah. Yes. Oops. I skipped one. Hold on.
Yes.
This is most people's favorite, in my opinion. People love Lothair because it's him, but as for storytelling, this one was excellent. Yeah. I kind of went after I did Lothair, I gave it 5 stars. I'm like, should I give him that 6 stars? Because it was one of my favorites. But it didn't, there were certain parts that didn't make it a 6-star for me. This one just had so much going on. and it had me hooked. Like I got it done like in a day. Like I couldn't put it down. It gave me everything I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I love that. Like he's just so special. And this, I don't know, there's just so much going on in this book. There's so much reveals, there's so much like plot points too that are so important, and things that are being brought from like other books. Like I think she did such an amazing job plotting this and like connecting it, and then also driving the story to now where it's the Morior or whatever, where now we're like leading into those people, which with Nyx talking about how, oh, they're going to bring about the doom and this and that, you're like thinking, oh, these guys are going to be like evil. And then you meet them and they're this ragtag group of like pretty cool, like, I guess, are they called the Primordial? Where they're the first or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the first Lycan.
Yeah. That's what I kind of got from that they're all primordials, and even Rune didn't realise by the end of the book we're starting to go, oh, maybe Rune himself is maybe not the oldest of the species, but one of the oldest, and therefore technically a primordial.
So, I think this is the first time we saw the Morior, right? Because we were told about them, and then this was like the first time we actually get introduced to one, and then to the whole like group, which like I mean, so many, bringing up that question of like so many side characters to like, there's so many, and you're like, oh man, I wonder if the dragon will get a book. He's like full dragon form. Like that would be so cool if the dragon gets a book. But yeah, so oops, sorry, I'm just my computer just bouncing around here. So I basically, this is my favorite of the series. I loved it. I think, again, like one of my favorite things in historical romance is a rake. I love a reformed rake, and like that's what the hero is giving me in this. Like I loved his character. Yeah, he does some stupid things near the end. But I actually, you understood his character, and he does make up for it. But I mean, I thought the heroine was just so unique. Like the combo of these characters together, they like really felt like they were meant to be. Like they are true, like amazing fated mates. So people believe one of these is Nyx's mate. I won't say who, but that's what people guess. Yeah, I think I know who you're saying. I guess I won't say anything here in case, so we won't. But I was kind of thinking he was her mate, because do I even say? Because it might spoil things. I mean, but with him being the only person she like can't see, and like can't, like she can see everybody's like futures and like what's going on, but she has like a blinder when it comes to that character. So I found, so, and then I was expecting like the Morior to be so like evil, and I really liked that whole group. So I'm excited to see where it goes with that. But what were your thoughts on the hero?
Well, again, I really loved him. A bit like you, he is a reformed rake character, isn't he? And again, it's one of these characters that's been through so much trauma in his past, right? His backstory and the history is absolutely heartbreaking for this character. And he, even though he's in the Morior and he's kind of like in this really powerful group, and he's the archer, he doesn't see himself as an archer. He sees himself as this secret gatherer, and that his role is very much to seduce women to get secrets out of them, and he doesn't really see his full value until obviously much nearer the end of the book. So I really liked him, and he would, like you say, this one was a fun read. Some of the others have been a bit harder to get through for me, but this one was actually a really fun read. I really love these characters together, and I just really loved him. He was great.
Yeah. He was another tragic hero, like where you had a hard time with McGreeve. It's like another one that has so much trauma. I just thought he had so many layers to him, with, I mean, being a dark fae, mixed with demon, and then, basically all his fluids, I hate to say that online, but
Yeah.
with all his whatever is like poison, and like even kissing somebody would kill them. And so like he knew like I'm never gonna get a mate, like, and to be basically like lose his mother the way he did, sold into like sexual slavery, and like have this axe held over his head every day unless he satisfied every customer for the day, and then being like imprisoned and all these things he went through. He's just a very jaded, cynical kind of guy, and he feels like his only worth, like you said, is his seducing, his sexuality. He uses like the nymphs to be able to get all the information, and he's like a rock god celebrity when he walks into these
That's
nymphs
hilarious, right?
trees.
Every
They're
time
like
he
standing
rolls in.
ovation. Woo! And I mean, that's how, Joe, it's, wait, is it Joe? Hold on.
It is Joe, yeah. Well, it's
I'm like
Josephine, but
missing the name.
Joe,
Josephine, yeah. Right? Okay. So that's how she finds him, is literally hearing him get off this nymph to like a crazy level. And it literally reminded me, I had just read Elizabeth Hoyt's book. It was like the second book in her Maiden Lane series. And people were all upset because she walks in on the hero like a rake. And he was a rake too, screwing this girl. And he's like, did you want to watch or join? Like, what's, and they were like, oh, you can't do that in a romance. I thought it was the perfect intro to like a rake and like a good girl type of thing. And so I thought this reminded me of that, which was so funny. I was like, but she's like, oh, the voyeur, she's enjoying watching this. And so I don't know. I loved his character. And I don't know. He has a lot to work through with thinking like he has to use a sexuality. That's his job. And then obviously when we get into the later part of the book where he has to use it again and she's like just destroyed by that, he can't understand. He's like, this is just my job. But one of the worst parts to me was like, which was hard to read, was when he was like, you can ghost into me and you'll see like I'm feeling nothing. And she's like, hell no. Like, so I don't know, like he's such an interesting character, and he has to really kind of learn his value too, is more than that. And I did love that at the end with, the head guy, which I don't even know if I should bring him up, but him being like, no, you're my archer. You're not my like sex slave or seducer. Like I use you because you're the best archer. Like that's why I need you. And so I really liked that like whole conversation near the end with them. So I just really loved him. I think the Dark Fae was such an interesting kind of character. And I loved how, you remember all of a sudden, oh yeah, we met that other Dark Fae that was in Torture Island. And he had been looking for her as like, maybe I could, have a mate with this chick. So it was cool to see her again too, because I know Daddy was like kind of crushing on her.
Yeah, and he put in a good word for Daddy as well.
Yeah. So I really liked it. Like I thought that was it. And then of course it's just introduced all the Morior, and I thought that was really fascinating too. She, like, honestly, I feel like her books are like these different phases, like the MCU. Like we're leading into the Morior phase or something now. Like, and we're getting to like what feels like the end game of like, hopefully if and when she continues, that we would lead to like Nyx being like the last book. But I don't know when we'll get there. Like I need Nyx, but yeah. So I won't dive into my Nyx love yet. I'll wait. I'll hold off.
Hold on.
But what did you think of the heroine?
Oh, again, I absolutely loved her. She's such a badass, right? Again, she's been through a lot. And obviously at first she's kind of like got this amnesia. She doesn't know where she's come from. She just, has that whole desire to make sure that Thaddy is protected and looked after. And then obviously when she's sort of, unalived, as it were, and she then comes into who she actually is, and she doesn't know. And this is the thing for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, she doesn't know how powerful she is or what she is.
Yeah.
And she tries to go back for Daddy and then scares him and I was just like, oh, that's so heartbreaking that he didn't recognize his own sister. But that she was like prepared to do whatever she needed to do to make sure that he was safe, right? So she kind of kept away, but then was also keeping an eye on him to make sure that he's okay. So I just
Yeah.
really loved it. And then when she finally comes into her own, I mean, she's so powerful, right?
Yeah.
It's
I feel like she's the most powerful heroine we've gotten, and she's so strong and like knows what she wants, and she doesn't back down, and I just loved her. I love that she was like this, she's so lonely, and wanted a mate. And like when she, like, it's so sad, like when she went into like that bride at like her wedding, and she felt like the love that that guy had for her, and she's like, that's what I want. And I just love that, because she's just this badass, most powerful heroine, but she just wants love and to find like her mate. And I just love that she was like, we're not having sex until like you want to be with me. Like, I'm not just going to be, one of your random hookups. Like, I want us to be together. And of course, he's like, I don't do monogamy. Like, that's not. But she really like held her ground for so long. I mean, obviously they messed around plenty. But I really, really loved her. And just as like her not knowing where she came from, her not knowing what she really was, it was kind of it was interesting, because it's like getting one of those heroines that isn't part of the lore, knows nothing about the lore, which we haven't really had. I don't know, like, I think we did earlier in the book, maybe. Yeah, one of like the humans or whatever. Obviously, Lethair's woman. But this one was actually like somebody that is in the lore but doesn't really get the lore. And the fact that she couldn't read, and like he threw the book of lore at her, like, yeah, read this. And she's very, she's very stubborn and doesn't want to admit she doesn't know anything about the lore. So then when she keeps making vows to the lore, like, he's just like,
stop doing that.
stop. Stop doing this. But her vows to the lore, like, why would she stop? Because she got her way, like, kind of where, I mean, like, he had to take her around. I thought that was really cool with the plotting too, where he had to take her with him on his search for Nyx. Like, he had to take her. And so I thought that was really interesting. And then of course it led to issues at the end when he was going to try and kill Nyx. So it's like all these things were just amazing plot points and just crafted perfectly the way that Cressley like laid it out. And I think it was just so cool, like what she was, a vampire, like phantom. Like, have you seen that? No. So
no, very powerful. It's interesting though about the vow to the law, because I don't think it was ever explicitly stated in previous books, or maybe it was and I missed it, because they did make a big thing throughout other books, like if you vow to the law, then it's a big deal, right? So people like take your word if you vow to the law. I don't think it was ever explicitly stated that if you make a vow to the law, you have to keep that. Like, by doing that, like, you are completely bound by that vow that you've made. And I never picked up
I
on
think
that before.
it was brought up in multiple books, and then like kind of it. I think it got more big like when we see like when Lothair is like him making the vow to the lore and all that kind of stuff, where he had to like kill. He was going to kill his mate to like bring back whatever that one evil chick. I can't even remember what she was, but like, and then I know it was brought up. I can't remember if it was like on a previous book, but there were like, I don't know. It's so confusing because somebody said something about it being like, oh, there are ways around it. I think some person said that, but I think that's him saying also in this, like, he'll make a vow to the lore, but there'll be a gray area. Like he'll say, if, blah, blah, blah.
Well, he put a qualifier on the end, right? So this is when Nick said,
here.
yeah.
Yes, this is when the toll of the race comes due, right? Yeah, that was really cool. Like, you could see how like Nyx had this all like plotted out perfectly to like, and it just, I want to reread this one because I feel like there's so much I would get into of like all these plans Nyx is like really doing that are coming into play here. Okay, so Cressley Cole actually let the lore swears fade off quite a bit in the middle of the books, but then brought it back to prominence for these later books. Yeah, because I think that wasn't made as big of a deal, and then it's gotten later. Now it's like this big thing of like you don't make like the vows to the lore or whatever. Let me see here. Previously, it was more like on my honor, but the older ones take it more seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I thought that was interesting too, like where she made the vow where she wouldn't feed if he like did this, and he was just like, you know, like it isn't taken so seriously. So it's like more belief you hold in it, the more powerful it is. Fate and Mates podcast talked about this a lot. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe it depends since he is like one of the oldest, like, I don't even remember how, maybe Jen can tell us how old he is, but he's like one of the oldest creatures. So it's like maybe he takes the vows to the lore like way more seriously than others. Which this started out as like one of the biggest age gaps you could think of, but then of course we find out what she's really from and all of that, and so you realize, oh, okay,
it could be a reverse age gap. I mean, if she was there at the dawn of the stars and she saw the whole world being made,
they are millennia old. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So he's seen some stuff.
I mean, that was a really fun thing, right? Because
so
I always thought I was this superhero, and she is a superhero. It's almost like she's, and even that whole sequence, it's kind of like she's come from another planet. So it's not like another realm, like not a demon realm. She's actually come from another planet.
Yeah.
And then the whole
we got like Supergirl or something over here,
almost like in a cocoon that she's keeping Daddy safe inside this cocoon, and they're drifting through space. It's very Superman, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then they eventually land on the planet, and Daddy goes away and gets adopted. You know, so it's that kind of, it's very Superman. It's got Superman vibes, I thought.
Very, yeah, it definitely does. And let me see, what was the other thing? I guess let me just start with this because I'll start going into my side thing. Who's your favorite character? You know who my favorite side character is going to be. It's going to be Nyx. Her role in this was just like amazing. And of course that. But Nyx is like the driving force in this whole book.
But can we call her the fact that he's at this point though? Is she really?
Well, I guess the side character in this, I know she's not really a side character. I did really like, what's his name? Okay, the guy that was the demon that was like gonna hook up with her, but he like, that's the one I was talking about where Robert will like voice him as like a demon pirate. Like and it's so funny.
I really liked him.
Yeah, she's literally Krypton. Yeah.
I don't remember the name of
Daddy Clark Kent. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I really liked his character. Like he kind of like is a driving force to like show him how stupid he's being. Like I loved it too when she like shows what she really is to get them to stop like fighting. And he was like, you know, at one point he's like, well, I have to kill him. Like he knows what you are now. And, you know, and then at the end when he shows up and like helps her get, you know, goes back to the Valkyries and all that stuff, which that was another thing with Nyx bringing up to him, like you'll see when you see a woman crying black tears, tell her to give up or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So like all these like little Nyx things are like coming into play. And can I say, one of my favorite scenes was when Nyx was like giving her the freaking beat down and like had her like lightning in like this halo circle and he couldn't get his arrows through it. And the whole time she's doing it though, it's like a lesson. She's like, you are one of the most powerful creatures and you're doing it wrong, you know? And so she actually is the one that kind of is like telling her about the ground, use the, you know, the ground and all that stuff. And then when she ends up phasing into people and pulling them underground, like later, like how cool is that?
Also terrifying.
So I love that scene. Like I was so amped.
Yeah, but that's the bit where I was like, Nyx. I was like, I know, like this is what I was saying. I can't decide if I actually like think she's a good person because all the things she's been doing and the trauma she's been putting all the characters through. I know she's doing it for good, like outcome. Like
It's
she
for
needs to do
greater
it.
purpose.
It's like, I mean, it was a little bit harsh.
I mean, I guess she says she's a goddess now, right? Like,
Well,
so
that's what we get at
she's
the
not.
end of the
She's,
previous book, right? She wants to be a
yeah,
goddess.
and so it's like, would a god really, or a goddess really worry about like the little people? You know, like I think she's worried about like that not having the end of the world. So she's a pretty morally gray, gonna do what she has to do type of thing. But that whole scene too is like brutal how she beats her, but it like makes her realize who she really is too.
Mm-hmm.
And then also it has like a great caretaking thing with them where he takes care of her. And like I love that also how she sends them on this wild goose chase after her everywhere. And it's like I'm like, okay, she's doing that to toy with them or also to make them have to be together longer and fall in love because she knows he's going to be his typical manho self and not go for it.
Well, that's what I thought her point was. It's kind of like as she's racing around the globe and they're chasing her, they've got to spend more and more time together, right?
Yeah.
So.
Because I think, she has this angle of who these mates they need to be together to be on like her team or whatever. But it's like also he's a Morior. So it's a lot of weight on Nyx's shoulders. I can't even imagine she also needs some entertainment now and then. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine knowing everybody's future, where this could go, where that could go, where like you would kind of lose it. And she has to keep everything straight and try to, get everybody like her chess pieces so that everything works out the way it needs to. This book lets us see Nyx as kind of a villain just for a minute. She would be a terrifying enemy. Yeah, because that I before in the books, you always saw her as a manipulator, kind of like a mastermind, kind of knows everything that's going on, kind of crazy, but very smart. But I didn't realize she was that badass. Like when she starts like fighting her, I was like, oh wow, she's got power. Because you didn't see the other Valkyries do that with like lightning coming around them. And like, so that made me go, whoa, like Nyx is bad. Like she's got some powers. So I get way too giddy over Nyx. So I hope we get to her book. And then the whole thing with the wraiths too, with the like, they were coming upon where they were going to be able to, like their whatever it was called. What did Jen call it? Let me find it.
Well, it was so basically it was the toll, wasn't it? So basically every time they left the house, they had to get a lot of hair. And when they had enough hair, they had enough of braid, and then they could take control of the Valkyrie. So it was almost they almost completed.
And then somebody got through, so then they were like, like you didn't do your duty type of thing. I'm thinking, but and then I love that scene too where he's like. Also, can I just say, okay, so the side characters, since I can't just use Nyx, I'll say the Morior, like all the characters, and then the guy that's going to be, I think, in Wicked Abyss, where he was like this gorgeous guy. But remember, again, in that Shadow's Claim, where he had killed that big, huge beast-looking thing.
Yeah.
That was I don't know, his dad or brother or whatever. And then so now he's going to be turned into that, I guess.
Well, he's going to
might be completely wrong.
Yeah, he's not going to turn into that, but he's going to turn into something else bad.
Turn beastly,
Yeah,
and so I'm excited for that. I like the, like the witch chick and being annoyed with these other witches that owe her money. And like just like the Lycan, I was like, okay, like I'm excited
like a big
for
bad
this.
wolf. He literally blew the house down. It's so
yeah.
It's so good. It was
I love when he shows up too after almost screwing the nymph, like totally messing up, and he shows up and all the Morior are like there.
Yeah,
and then like that one hot one is like, man, that's your that's your woman? Like, she's amazing, you know? And it was just like, wait, that's your mate? And you like, oh, and I love that side character too of that chick that he was kind of like that other nymph that he would hook up with and stuff and would give him information. And she was like, you brought your mate here? Like, and she totally just lays into him. I really loved that. There's just so many good characters in this one. You know, it's just, I don't know, this world just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And of course it was great to see Lothair, his commentary as she's trying to like bring down the Valkyrie. So it's like, I love seeing, you know, it was sad when we didn't have Lothair watch anymore. I felt like I was kind of like missing a little something. So it was good to get. And then of course Thad, when he shows up and is like gonna attack her and then he realizes who she is. I love him. He's such a sweet boy.
Yeah, I know. Amazing. He was really good. My favorite side character.
So many good side characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. I don't remember her name.
No, I can't remember her name.
I don't remember.
Yeah. but I just thought she was
quite,
but
she was great.
Yeah, she wasn't in it that much, but she was, you know, good enough friends with Rune that she could give him a little bit of advice that maybe he should have taken sooner.
Get in there. Sometimes you need that in these books where it's like that third act guy acting like an idiot, or the girl, and their friends have to tell him like, you're being an idiot, like wake up. So I really liked that. Okay, I guess I'll do this because maybe this will tell me what you didn't like. What didn't you like about the book?
Oh no, I'm not prepared.
Well, you could think about it a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I didn't have anything if I gave it 6 stars.
Yeah.
So I loved every little thing about this.
Yeah, no, and now I'm thinking I should have rated it higher now too, but I am very strict. So I'll probably go back. You know, I think I'll go back at the end when we've got to the end and probably re-rate some of these.
Yeah,
aligned to the others.
I know. I was thinking of like ranking them too and figuring out what are my favorites to like whatever, because it's like, yeah, I honestly like. I know a lot of people might not like his actions maybe at the end where he was going to have sex with the nymph and maybe he didn't have as much of a grovel as they would want, but I kind of thought it was enough for me. I did. So, and it didn't honestly annoy me as much as like the Lothair thing when they had their break. I was like really mad.
Yeah.
I got like frustrated with that. But then of course, you know, he like cuts out his own heart. So I guess that's kind of good. That's makes up for things.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think there was anything I didn't like, to be honest.
Okay. So let's see here. What did you like most? What was your favorite parts of this book?
I think it's just the overall like continuation of this story. I think we've really got, I mean, obviously we're in book 16 now or whatever we're at, but we've got so much momentum now and so much has been revealed. We're learning more and more all the time, right? So I just love like how all of these story pieces are really coming together. We get so much more in this book, we get so much more of Nyx, and I think that's probably like the highlight, right? Because it's kind of like suddenly it's kind of all the pennies are starting to drop. Maybe there's more pennies to be dropped later. But I just really love Thaddy and his storyline and the relationship he's got with his sister. So just how all of this comes together and we finally figure out what's going on with them and who he is and where he's come from and everything. So yeah, I just think it's just for me, it's the overall momentum of this whole series and where we're getting to with this story.
Yeah. Hold on, let me go to
really excited to read the next 2.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Like her getting Thad back, and then also the woman that basically adopted him. You know, she felt like very hurt when she like. But I mean, she was like dead, come back to life. Of course, the lady's gonna get freaked out. I love that too, where you see her like wanting to build a relationship with Josie, and then also how she's like having to realize he's a, vampire thing going on, and like feeding, and like she's just totally accepting him. And I just thought that was really cute. Yeah. Like honestly, like this book, I think has the best heroine in the entire series. I think she is one of my favorite things about this book. And then obviously I loved Rune. I loved their relationship, their push and pull. Like I just found her story they both were so heartbreaking and so interesting, and how they come together. And I like, one of my favorite things too was like when he takes her to that like ball thing, and they get attacked. He knows it's like, which I think this is going to come into play in future books, where he like his half brother or whatever, he like they attack him, and then that's what I mean, there's so much going on in this book.
Yeah.
But like, and he like breaks that sword or something that was like their thing. So that was interesting. But what I loved about that was like when she's like held at like knife point or whatever, she is a badass. She doesn't need him to like rescue her. And the way she does that guy that had her, she's just so cool. Like I love her power. And so, and I also love that she was not the heroine that's fighting. I don't want to mate. I don't believe in mates, all that. Like I was getting tired of that. And she is like all on board. Like, I want a life partner. I want to be with you forever. Let's commit. Mm-hmm. He's the one that, and I think he wanted to commit with her. It was just, he always thought his only value was being able to seduce and stuff. And so I don't know. I just loved this one. Like it was so good. So yeah, the more I talk about it, I'm glad I gave it 6 stars, because it is my favorite in the series.
It is really good.
It's definitely so good. So the next ones we have are Shadow's Seduction, and then Wicked Abyss. Mm-hmm. And I was saying to Helen before we got on, I was like, I was hoping I would have the audiobook on Libby, but it wasn't available. And I don't think it was on Spotify either, even though I don't try to use Spotify very much. So I might have to use a credit. And I was like, I don't know if it's a shorter book. I think it's only 200 something pages. So I might actually I might get the ebook, but I'll probably just do the audiobook, because I've done the audios forever now. I love Robert, and I'll probably end up getting that audiobook. But yeah, I'm nervous for Shadow Seduction, because I didn't really love Caspian. Well, but I'm excited because it's an MM. So
it's an MM.
I probably will. I'm gonna not feel the Caspian things in this, because it's not the heroine's point of view being like, I love him so much.
Yeah.
So but I think maybe it'll be better.
Question of who sponsored Caspian to get in to the Daphne City in the first place, and now we know. And sorry, all my lights are off. Hang on.
Hey, yeah, it'll be interesting. And I don't know. I don't know if she had ever really done an MM. Maybe she has in other books. Like, I'm not sure. But I'm interested to see how she does MM. Which let me see. Maybe Jen's commenting. Okay. So Shadow Seduction has a great setup for the newest one. Okay. Yes. So I am excited. I'm probably just gonna get the credit.
Yeah.
Because I love the audiobooks. So I'll just do it. I have multiple credits. I try to save them for like the more expensive audiobooks, and then I end up buying a lot of other ones. But I've been lucky where I've gotten a lot that were available on my Libby. So that has been really nice. But yeah. So anyways, we're a little over an hour. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Wicked Abyss has been. Oh, yes. I'm excited for Wicked Abyss. You know my taste, Jen.
I'm excited for it as well. So,
yeah. I think we're gonna like it, because already him in this book, I was super intrigued by his character. So I'm really excited. So I'm excited for this more your phase, if that's what this is. I'm excited. So anyways, we've been on here for a little over an hour. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks, Jen, for joining us. I appreciate you. It's nice to have somebody in the comments to feed off of, where it's not just us. But thanks everybody for watching. We will see you guys on the next one. Usually it's the first week of the next month, because I like to give everybody a chance to have the full month to read it, because I know it's busy this time of year too. Luckily, this one's a shorter book and then the regular, so maybe that'll be a little easier. But let me see here. Thanks, Jen. All right, bye everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Bye.